What is going on, guys, and welcome to another video. And today we're going to be doing the best beginner heroes. Now I'm going to try to make this one a little bit shorter and easier to the point so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. Hopefully you guys do enjoy. If you guys do, leave a comment down below and let me know which one of these is your favorite heroes. That is the question for the day. The first hero we're going to be taking a look at from the carry position is going to be Life Stealer with a 54% win rate. This hero is insanely strong, especially in this current meta of brawling. The hero is still really nice. He is very survivable and he has some slows and attack speed and also magic immunity, which is always going to be quite nice, especially with a lot of magic lineups being very popular. Lina, Zeus, these types of heroes have been really popular, so having the Life Stealer on your squad is definitely very beneficial. One of the bad things about this hero is that he definitely doesn't farm very fast, but he is a pretty decent team fighter, as the hero has some pretty good saves with Infest. You can provide more HP and you can also get out of really sticky situations by infesting either into a creep or infesting into a hero. And if you get the Aghanim Scepter, you can actually infest the enemy and disarm them, which is really nice. It's a very cool aspect of the hero, and it is very underrated as an Aghanim Scepter, and a lot of players do end up picking up the item, and it is nice. And you can always go for infest bomb plays with heroes like Mars, Spirit Breaker. You can go for an infest play with Puck as well. These high mobility heroes definitely benefit a lot from having a Life Stealer inside of them, because not only are they more survivable, it's also easier for the Life Stealer to be able to close that gap. But the hero is really strong and I highly recommend it. The next hero we're going to be breaking down is Luna. Now Luna is an insane team fighter, also very easy to play. Luna is pretty straightforward. You farm very easily with Moonglaves. It is a very important part of your kit. You also take towers really fast, and you have one of the best team fight ultimates in the game in Eclipse. Now against illusion heroes, Luna's Eclipse doesn't do a whole lot, but her glaives are always going to be really solid. She's a really good all-around carry, and I think she is better in the mid game than she is in the ultra late game. I think Luna, unless you get a Divine Rapier, isn't the strongest scaling carry out there, but with the Conda build, it can get you to that mid game. But make sure you guys are getting your Mask of Madness and your Manta first, that way you can actually farm. And if you do decide to go right click build, you can build a whole lot of items like Scotty, Butterfly, Monkey King Bar. The hero can really build anything and it'll still work because you farm really fast and you have high magic burst as well as really good physical damage. So it's a very good hybrid carry. If you guys are running into lineups where they're mixed damage, Luna can definitely do the job, and the hero is pretty strong in this current meta. Let me know what you guys think about Luna in the comments. The next hero we're going to be taking a look at is the offlaner Underlord with a 51% win rate. The hero is just really survivable, really easy to play. It's your typical offlaner where you just want to sit in the middle of the fight and tank all the spells. The hero loves building aura items like Vlad's, items like Shiva's Guard, AC. All these types of items are really good for Underlord because the tankier you are, the more damage you're going to be doing with Firestorm and Atrophy aura. It's really nice to have a hero like Underlord on your team, as it can provide really nice setup with Fiend's Gate. It's very good if you guys get yourselves onto the back line and be in a really good position, as well as take Roche in a much faster manner. The hero is really strong if used correctly. It's not very difficult to play, but it is a hero that has a pretty decent skill ceiling if you guys want to play completely optimally, basically revolving around the ultimate, because his kit is pretty standard. Pit of Malice is pretty easy to land. Firestorm is pretty self-explanatory, pretty much AoE damage. Very easy for you guys to be farming the creep waves, and your Atrophy aura just reduces base damage and adds temporary bonus damage for every enemy that dies, whether it's creeps or heroes, and it is going to give you that nice little damage. And if you guys are building auras, it's going to be very nice for your team to have a really strong offlaner that can just sit there and soak that damage as well as set up for plays. I highly recommend you guys to be picking heroes like this, where it is a much harder hero to punish, unless you guys are going up against heroes like Monkey King, Ursa, these types of heroes that like to beat into you and really like going up against tanky heroes. Other than that, you're going to have a really good time with heroes like Underlord. The next offlaner we're going to be taking a look at is Tidehunter. Tidehunter with a 49% win rate is still a really solid offlane pick. The hero doesn't lose a lot of lanes, and Ravage is honestly one of the best team fight ultimates in the game. It's the type of team fight ultimate that could definitely win you the game. It's the type of thing that you definitely don't want to waste, but don't be afraid to actually use the spell. It is a large cooldown, but at the same time, I see a lot of players holding down the ultimate for that perfect 5-man Ravage. Most of the time, you're not going to be getting that, but if you can get that Ravage onto a high priority target like a carrier or mid, then definitely pull it off, and you have that nice damage reduction with Anchor Smash, which is really nice for you to farm as well. The hero also loves to build auras, so very similar to our Underlord. The heroes both kind of play the similar role where they just want to sit there and tank as much as possible. So items like Shiva's Guard, Blade Mail, these types of items that are going to make you a lot more survivable, and a Blink Dagger for you to set up that awesome Ravage. These are going to be really nice. You could also also play the Tidehunter with a Phantom Assassin Slardar lineup, as it's going to be insane minus armor coming in because Gush is pretty decent with giving you that armor reduction. It is going to be nice, and if you pair that with a Slardar or with a Phantom Assassin, it is going to be really good. It's going to feel nice, and you can eventually get the Aghanim Scepter to make Gush even better. And the hero is overall very solid and really easy to play. Now you can mess up Ravage, but if you guys go as close as possible, you're pretty much never going to be missing it. So try not go for these long Ravage plays. That's more for the advanced players, that they know exactly what the limits are for Ravage, and they definitely know that, and they can definitely pull it off. But if you're not sure about going for Ravage play, then definitely keep the cooldown, as you can get easily punished if you guys don't have Ravage on cooldown. It is pretty rough to take a team fight without Ravage. Even though the hero's still quite strong, without Ravage you typically don't want to fight, and you want to be pushing the side lanes as much as possible. And it's the type of hero that doesn't want to rotate early. So if you guys are the type of players that like to play very active from the off lane, Tidehunter is definitely not your hero. This hero likes to stay in his lane and get as much farm as possible, and will pretty much only join when he has enough farm. It's the type of hero that you won't see rotating over to the mid lane at 10 minutes into the game, even if the game is going poorly. It's just not going to happen most of the time. Just depends on what type of player is playing this hero. Now the next hero we're going to be taking a look at is a mid laner, and we're going to be doing Viper. Viper is probably one of the most popular mid lane heroes out there, especially the lower MMR you go. Even in Pro League it's being played. Viper's just a very toxic, very annoying freaking hero to go up against, especially if you're playing a melee hero from the mid lane. It can feel quite brutal to go up against the Viper. The hero's just going to right click you with poison attacks that are going to be doing damage over time, and it's going to be extremely annoying. I personally hate playing against Vipers, so every time I see them I am pretty happy that sometimes it is being played from the off lane and I won't have to deal with it from the mid lane. But I definitely don't have a lot of fun when I'm playing those matchups. Even when you're playing with heroes like Leshrac or Zeus or Queen of Pain, that you can kind of stay back and kind of avoid some of that damage, it's still not nice because the hero kind of plays like a Huskar. It's a lane dominator. It's meant to bully you. It's meant to completely push you out of lane, and the hero can still farm. You can just lay down your Nether Toxin into a stack and you can actually farm quite easily. The hero is definitely no joke, and the breaks are always going to be nice against heroes like Bristleback or Timbersaw. This hero is always going to have that big value from that break, and just that damage over time overall is always going to be really annoying, especially in the early game. If you can get a really nice start, a lot of levels going for you from the mid lane, you can definitely become a menace and start snowballing out of control on the map. And the hero in the late game is definitely no joke either. You can go for items like Scotty. You could also go for the Aghanim Scepter build with Radiance and a Bloodstone. That is a very survivable build. I don't think it's as strong as it used to be, but the hero can still be played like that in the late game if necessary. And you have that built-in magic resistance with Corrosive Skin, which it is nice when you are facing up against high magic damage. It's going to make you a lot more survivable, and they're also going to take damage per second based on those attacks. So the hero is just made to do damage. He's not very survivable because when this hero gets jumped on top of by multiple heroes, he's definitely going to die almost every single time. But the hero is very single target based, so you can do a lot of damage to one target very quickly. So if you are going for solo pickoffs, it is a really strong hero. The next hero we're going to be taking a look at is Zeus. Now Zeus is one of the strongest mids in the current patch. I'm definitely a really big fan of this hero. It is very easy to play as well, and the hero just does a shit ton of damage. He is just super strong, especially with this Lightning Hands build, which is the shard with the Manta style going into AC or Moon Shard, and you basically build right click from magic damage, which is nice. You could also go right click pure as well. You can get items like Daedalus or stay with the Conda, and the hero just does the most damage. And in the late game, it's definitely no joke. I definitely enjoy playing this Zeus a lot more than the classic Zeus where you just go for spell casting with your Refresher, your Aghanim Scepter. Honestly, all the games I've played Zeus recently, I have not gone for the Aghanim Scepter. I'm just all about this Lightning Hands build where I'm just sitting there and right clicking people and casting the Arc Lightning and all my spells with Conda, and I am basically obliterating targets. The hero just does a lot, and defending high ground with Zeus always feels really nice, especially with this Manta. You are able to push out the lanes so nicely because the Manta illusions will have your passive with the Lightning Hands. It is really nice to push out lanes and really take aggressive farm. If there's a spot on the map that you want to send those illusions in, they're going to farm really quickly, and you're going to be able to scale a lot harder. And for team fights as well, it's just going to be doing so much damage. Zeus is definitely a really big menace around Dota right now, and I highly recommend you guys to be picking Zeus from the mid lane, as you are going to win a lot more MMR. The hero doesn't have a lot of bad matchups, and with mana boots being so cheap nowadays, it is a really nice build up where you're going to be going for your bottle, your mana boots, and then you're going to be getting the phylactery and then you can go back for the manta and then your shard, and that's going to help you farm a lot faster. It's going to help you scale, and you're not going to be using your mana pool as much, so you're going to be able to take really big stacks. So make sure you ask your team nicely to stack for you. Moving on to the support category, we're going to be doing Dazzle. Now, Dazzle is definitely a fan favorite hero. It's always going to be very, very popular. It does suck when there's an axe on the other team because your shallow grave is practically going to be useless. But if you guys happen to see that there's no axe or it might be banned, then definitely pick Dazzle. He is really strong. Poison touch is very, very strong, especially against melee heroes in the lane. It can feel quite difficult for them to get away from poison touch. And if you end up going for the very greedy build where you get an orb of venom, it's very difficult for heroes to actually get away from you. You're already getting slowed from poison touch and the slow from orb of venom, even though you are a range hero, so you don't get the full benefit of having the orb of venom. It's still really, really strong. It's definitely very greedy, but it could definitely work if you are facing up against a melee hero. You're going to get a ton of value from that item, so I definitely recommend it if you do know your offlane matchup. With heroes like Mars or Axe, you're going to be able to do a lot of damage to them. It's just Axe typically counters you because you're not able to shallow grave and protect people, because Axe can actually dunk through it. So that's why that matchup is a little bit difficult. You also have damage reduction, and you typically like to build auras, and you have healing and damage. The hero all around provides a lot for the team, can provide a lot of saves, can provide a lot of healing, and it can actually turn a lot of team fights off shallow grave. If you're able to shallow grave and heal them, they can come back into that team fight and actually win it. So you can pull a lot of clutch plays while playing the Dazzle. It's a very nice hero to have, and it's nice to always have healing and saves. It can always feel good to have a Dazzle on your team. The last support we're going to be taking a look at is Lich. Now, Lich is a very underrated support. This hero doesn't get a lot of love, and I think the hero is still really strong. I don't think he is the best support out there, but he is really strong. He's a really good team fighter, a lot of utility to be able to play around your teammates. Frost armor is no joke. That ability just does a lot. For what it's worth, the ability in the laning phase can pretty much make heroes feel immortal. It's just a lot of damage reduction, and it feels really good. You also have Sinister Gaze to be pulling targets. If you are playing maybe a Lich Mars lane, you could Sinister Gaze into a really nice spear, so you could actually do some setup with that. You could also secure range creeps with Frost Blast, which is really nice. You could also harass the enemy with Frost Blast. It is a lot of damage, and if you are going to max it, it is a little bit greedy for you guys to max it, but it does feel nice to have that burst magic damage, especially if you're going to be pairing it up with a very active hero like Juggernaut, which can definitely benefit from that. That is definitely a very strong lane. You could also go for a Slardar, that Frost armor, and having Sinister Gaze and also having that Frost Blast. It is going to benefit that lane quite heavily. Don't play the Lich if you guys are very passive supports. I think Lich can be played a lot more aggressively, and he still has a really nice teamfight ultimate. If you can get all those bounces to land properly, which can be a lot of RNG, honestly, some of those ultimates you're going to whiff, and you're not going to be hitting a lot of targets because people are just going to delta split and split away from each other. But sometimes you're going to land those ultimates where you might be able to even get a rampage. It's a very strong ultimate, and the hero just does a lot. And if you build Pavis on the hero and eventually get a Solar Crest plus that Frost armor, you're going to be making your carry a lot tankier than he typically would be, and it's a very great support tool for you guys to be running. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the heroes we talked about today. Do you guys have any suggestions on some of the easier heroes to play in Dota? There's a couple more videos I've done on this. I will be leaving links below to those videos. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.